Hey friends, welcome back to the Finding Joy in Your Home podcast. So last week I had Mindy on from the Advent Prep Club. We were talking about preparing for Advent season, and she had some really great tips and tricks for making Advent season just more peaceful in our homes. Now today, my guest is Lisa from Organize 365, and we are going to be talking about planning and prepping for Christmas time. The thing is, Christmas time and the holidays, Thanksgiving, everything kind of now in the next couple of months through like mid-January can feel very chaotic and crazy and so many things on the schedule, so many things to do that we can get very stressed and feel very overwhelmed and just kind of feel like our schedules are controlling us instead of the other way around. So I invited Lisa to chat with me here on the podcast because she is the queen of organization and being intentional with your time. And today we're talking about how do we prep and plan for the upcoming holiday season and to do it in a way that is sustainable and in a way that is going to benefit our families. And part of that is learning what to say yes to and what to say no to. And that's what we're going to dive into today, which I think is the perfect time to start thinking about this. Whether you're listening here in mid-November or all the way up through Christmas, now is the great time to chat about that. So we're going to jump right into that. I do have one major, huge, incredible announcement for you today. Our Christmas shop opening is coming Wednesday, November. It's the 15th or the 16th, right? Whatever the Wednesday is. Now I'm forgetting off the top of my head. I don't have my phone in front of me. So Wednesday, I think it's the 15th. We are going to be launching at 2 p.m. Eastern, whatever date that Wednesday is. It is Wednesday for sure. So we are launching our Christmas shop at 2 p.m. Eastern. No, 2 p.m. Central. We're in Oklahoma, Central time. Sometime mid-afternoon, we will have that store opening coming to you. So what's really, really exciting in this Christmas shop opening, the Christmas shop opening is always our biggest launch of the year. And we have 8 new products. And I actually think it's 10 because I think there's 2 that I haven't even sneak peeked yet. Okay, so what's going to happen is on Monday, we are going to be doing sneak peeks. We're going to be sharing absolutely everything that's going to be in this shop. Store will open on Wednesday. Most of our stuff is going to be in stock, meaning you can order it the full 3 weeks. We're going to be open until December 1st for the store opening. You can order the stuff and you're just gonna be able to buy it. We do have a couple of things, the dress of the quarter, the earring of the quarter. We have an earring set that's really, really pretty that goes along with the dress, and a couple of other items are going to be very limited. The dress will probably sell out. We have a couple other items that could sell out. So if you are interested in anything specific, you do want to get your orders in sooner rather than later. Our ice cream cookbook is also going to sell out. I'm sure that is a limited stock that we're not restocking right now for the winter, but we have some in stock. Okay, so we have got in stock in the store. We're going to have all of my cookbooks. So we'll have cookbooks 1 and 2. We will have Jason's Sterling Spectacles books, the adventure guides, all of our previous things that we have done in print before you will have in the store. But we have, like I said, a bunch of new products. So my 3rd cookbook, Everyday Hospitality and Special Occasions, is going to be coming out. It will cover Thanksgiving and Christmas and all kinds of other great things revolving around hospitality, bringing people meals. This thing is packed. So my new cookbook is releasing. We also have some other fun surprises. These are cross-stitch sampler kits. So you actually can learn how to cross stitch, all the things. Okay, I'm not gonna bore you all right now, but if you are excited, make sure you're on my email newsletter or over on Instagram, because on Monday I will be doing the full reveal of everything. Okay, so that is coming Wednesday, November 15th or 16th, whatever date that Wednesday is, through December 1st is when our Christmas shop opening will be. Everything will be shipping in December in time for Christmas. And then you will get the digital copies of everything beforehand. So you'll be able to actually use the Thanksgiving recipes coming up for Thanksgiving with your digital copy, which is really exciting. Okay, I'm going to be done there. We are going to hear from our sponsor a little bit later for this episode. We have got the Homemaker's Friend Daily Planner. This is awesome. We will hear from that in a little while. But for now, let's go ahead and jump into this incredible interview with Lisa. Hey, ladies, welcome back to the Finding Joy in Your Home podcast. Today's topic is awesome. We're going to be talking about holiday planning, and I have got Lisa here from Organize 365. Lisa, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jamie. Happy to be here.
Okay, so Lisa, you're one of my favorite people to talk about with organization because organization, planning, that really seeps into literally every corner of our life. And I think a lot of times we relegate planning or organizing into this one little tiny box that, I'm not a natural planner, so I'm not going to look at that. But really, it affects everything. So before we dive into holiday planning, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do over at Organize 365 to help people?
Okay, so I love that. And I used to apologize and say I'm a nerd or whatever because like my planning has planning. And now, like, as I'm 51 and I'm doing more at 51 than I've done at any other time in my life, I'm like, yeah, if you want to get stuff done, people who get stuff done plan. Like they plan all the time. It's just a natural part of who they are. And I think when we're younger, we tend to resist planning because we think then it's going to limit our spontaneity. And the truth is, whenever you do something that is fun and spontaneous, somebody probably planned it.
Yeah.
Like spontaneity doesn't truly happen. So anyway, I started Organize 365 the year I turned 40 in 2012 as an online blog and an in-home professional organization company. And over the last almost 12 years, it's become a podcast, physical products, courses. And I basically am just like a girlfriend who's a little bit more organized than you. I'm not a perfectionist.
Yes.
And I've just created a few simple systems that really, really work and translate no matter what phase of life that you're in.
Well, I love that because like you're saying, planning is really how we can get things done, which we'll talk about when it comes to holidays. But we have a lot that we're juggling personally. So we've got 7 kids, we run our business, we've got a lot of things going on. And so often people look at me and go, Jamie, you're just a type A. You're type A personality. You're super organized. And I just laugh my head off because I am not. I am a type B personality.
Really?
See, people get surprised. I am like, I just want to craft and spread this stuff all over the house. Like that is absolutely my personality. I am not naturally clean or organized. And yet I've had to learn how to be scheduled with my time. I've had to learn to time block. And I've learned that for things like Christmas, if I actually plan ahead and make myself do that, which does not come naturally to me, then we actually have much more peace during Christmas. We get to all those activities that the type B in me wants to do, all these crafts and things. But guess what? I have to be planned with that to actually make it happen. And so it's so much that I've learned that I've had to figure out how to do this. It doesn't come naturally to me. And I think sometimes you only hear from those super hyper type A personalities who've already been doing this since they were 3 years old anyway. And trying to figure out how to, kind of fit this into normal life, I think can be a challenge sometimes.
All right, we're going to take a brief pause for our sponsor for today's episode, which is the Homemaker's Friend Daily Planner. This is the best, most versatile, most affordable planner that is out there. It is created by Sue Holy, who is a homemaker herself. She understands what we need in a planner. So it's a planner designed by a homemaker for homemakers. And I think that's brilliant because she's packed everything in here that we really need. And what I love is the design too. Like it's this small little thing that you can throw in your purse, bring with you, which I always need. And yet it has everything that you need in here. She's designed this in a really smart way. So you've got everything. You've got your year at a glance. You can plan in birthdays, anniversaries. It has your monthly planner as well as monthly goals. So you can see your month overall. What do we got going on? It's got your week broken out. I have to have this like weekly 2-page spread right here that's got, you can plan everything out on here. I do my meal planning in this way and everything. But then there are some days where I need a whole lot more than this little square of space, right? I need an entire to-do list. And she has got a whole tabby back here that is to-dos. So you can just use an entire page for a day, or if you're planning something out, you've got the space. She also then has a little tabby for projects. So if you've got specific projects going on, if you're trying to plan your Thanksgiving dinner menu, it all can go contained in here. And then she has got info, which is another great place to jot down. When you're on the phone with a doctor and you're like having to write everything down and doodling and I have to do, like my hand has to be doing something while I'm talking. this is a great place for that. And everything is saved. And then the last part is the tearaway shopping sheet. So you can actually write your shopping sheet and then tear that little section out. And you can use this for the entire year, which is awesome. So I just absolutely love this. The 2024 planner is gorgeous. If you're looking for something to get organized, to get ready as we're heading into the new year soon, this is the planner to get. And the best part is that my listeners, exclusive right here to this podcast, are going to get $3 off. And that's a really good discount when we're talking already how affordable this planner is. Just go to homemakersfriend.com and use my coupon code PLANNER, all capital letters, PLANNER, at checkout to get $3 off. Just head over to homemakersfriend.com, because this is your homemaking friend for sure. Homemakersfriend.com. Use coupon code PLANNER, all capitals, at checkout to get $3 off. And as a big reminder, just a huge thank you to Sue Holy, her Homemakers Planner, for supporting our show, because when you're supporting our sponsors, you're supporting us and vice versa. And I love, love, love getting to work with other small Christian businesses who have the same heart behind what they're doing that we do. So huge, huge thank you to them. And please go check out the Homemakers Friend Daily Planner at homemakersfriend.com. All right, let's get back to the episode.
And I love that you say that, because I created the mission, vision, and values for Organize 365 in 2017, and they have not changed. And our mission is to help people get functionally organized in around a year so that you can do what you're uniquely created to do. Organize 365 is not a decorating company. And we do sell a couple of products, but we aren't, the Container Store. So our goal isn't to have you buy a lot of products or to have your house look the same as somebody else's house. Our goal is for your house to be organized enough so that you have more time to do what you're uniquely created to do. And what people don't realize when they resist organization and planning is they're actually sacrificing a lot of their time for this spontaneity that they think they have, or this being able to fly by the seat of your pants or go with the flow. It sounds great, but in reality, you lose a lot of time due to inefficiencies. And like, if you just take it out of this realm completely and you would talk about running, let's say, like, I'm not really a runner, but I could become a runner. Like, anybody could become a runner. Anyone could run a marathon. And in order to do that, no one starts being like, yeah, I can run a marathon at the age of 2. Like, it's discipline, it's practice, it's training. You'll get so far on natural talent, maybe a mile, maybe you could do a 5-mile run naturally without much training. But eventually, if you want to do a marathon, you're going to get to the part where you need to eat differently. You need to fuel your body differently. You need to run differently. You need to pace and do intervals. And I'm just guessing because I don't do this stuff. But the same is true with organizing and planning. I mean, no one's going to say you have to organize and plan, but once you really realize you can learn the skill of organizing, and it's not just for some people, not everyone, then you're like, oh, it is for me. And then you persevere a little bit more, and then you realize the freedom that actually comes from planning.
Yes. And I think figuring out the type of planning that works well for you as well. When I was really like, okay, I've got several kids underfoot now, I got to figure this out. I went too far to the extreme of like, I'm going to block out every 15 minutes of my day and it's going to be perfect. Well, especially in that season with a lot of young kids, it was terrible. Like, it did not work in any capacity. And so really trying to figure out, and I think it changes when you walk into a new season too, of how does this actually work for me? And I think sometimes we think of planning as only being one particular way. And I think there's a lot of ways that it can play out.
So let's just give a really simple definition of planning. Like, for me, planning means that I know what I'm going to do in the next day. So like, today is a school day. I'm getting a PhD. So I'm at home doing schoolwork, and I shared on Instagram today that I need to work on 3 different papers. And it's 7:30 a.m. and I'm like, where do I start? And I was like, oh, well, let me check my brain who planned this for me like a week ago. So I opened up my calendar. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I need an hour and 15 minutes on this paper and 4 hours on this one and 3 hours on this one. And I just got started. And because when I stopped doing my schoolwork a week prior, I planned what I would need to do when I got started. I didn't waste an hour this morning trying to realize what was due when, which paper to do next, I was able to immediately get started in action. And that's what planning does. Like, as you stop an activity, think about when you pick this up again, where are you going to be and where in your calendar does that make sense, and put that in there. The second thing I would say about planning, now that's a lot to write, 3 papers. I didn't write the entire papers. There were portions of them. But 3 is pretty much the max of anything you can get done in a day. Even if you're talking about laundry, because like if you have 5 loads of laundry, that may be what you get done that day.
Yeah.
So, 1, 2, maybe 3 things at the end of the day you say you got done. I used to make these really long to-do lists that had like 20 or 30 things, and I'd get 15 things checked off, but I would not have anything done. And so productive people who plan less, but they get it done. So they have more accomplishment, and then that fuels them to choose just a few more things the next day.
I love that. And that's, I think, especially, we're talking about our homes. I was just thinking in the context of like, you get up in the morning and you're like, the kitchen's messy and the laundry. And, there really is so many different priorities to juggle that getting started is the hardest. And so when I have a to-do list that's already ready, like you said, you just open it up and you start going, no matter if it's working on papers or getting housework done, it just helps you. It's just getting started is so often the hardest part of all of it.
Yeah. And you mentioned housework. Like when you are taking care of your house, the work is routine and repetitive. And so to me, that's not necessarily as planned work anymore. It is in the beginning when you're a new homeowner, when you add additional baby, when you have a new phase of life.
Yeah.
But that kind of work actually should become habitual and routine. And you should create really good habits and routines. Like every morning I empty the dishwasher, do the dishes, start a little, like it's these 10 things, and it goes on from 9 to 10 a.m. And that is my morning routine. Like morning routines, habitual things, those also are different kinds of productivity that don't necessarily have to be planned. They're kind of like every morning when you get up, you go to the bathroom, right? So it's kind of like that. Like you go to the bathroom and you shower and you do all these things. And yes, it's a long list because you're in a season where there's a lot of things you're doing. But in addition to that, you may just have one 90-minute block of time where you do one thing a day that's in addition to your regular day job.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're getting it like automated when you can just like, your brain doesn't have to think about it. And you're like, I go through these 5 exact things. We've been doing that with laundry a lot lately because we have to do at least a load a day, start to finish, for our family of 9. And even then, sometimes it's 2 loads. So when I've gotten into the automatic habit of it, I get it started, we pull it out, like it's not even hard anymore.
Right.
But when you get behind and there's 20 loads to do, that it's too hard. So I love that. Okay. What I want to do though, we're just talking about like general planning, which I love, which we can talk about all day, but I want to talk about holiday planning. So how do we approach, we've got a couple months now, we're heading into the busy season. How do we want to approach our holiday planning or our kind of mindset as we're approaching it?
I have this picture of 2 different kinds of people who are listening to us right now. One is like, they've got their legal pad out with their pen and they're like, okay, give me the list. I'm ready to go. And the other person is now shaking in the corner going, I don't want to listen to the rest of this one. Like, please, could it be January? Like, I don't think there's a middle ground. I think you're either like, yes, game on, or the other person is like, oh gosh, I gotta get ready.
Yes.
And I think that specifically we as women totally make this so much of a bigger deal than it needs to be. And by that, I mean, we have in our head every single holiday experience we've had since our first memory at the age of 4. And somehow we want to have every single one of those come off without a hitch between now and the end of the year. And for everyone to be in a good mood while we do it, and for everybody to recognize all the work that we're doing. First of all, 90% of what you do, no one is even going to notice, nor would they notice if you didn't do it. And so when we're going to talk about holiday planning, if you could only do 3 things between now and the end of the year, only 3, what are the most meaningful for you? Let's start with you. Like for me, I love having the tree up. So I want the Christmas tree up, and I put it up on the day after Thanksgiving. No one helps me. Thank you very little. So I will do it. I do it for me.
Yeah.
I want to take it down the first week in January, because if I don't, then my life gets going and it's hard to do it. The family doesn't like that, but I've decided no one helps me take it down. So I will be putting it up the day after Thanksgiving. I will be taking it down on the Sunday, the first Sunday in before the first full week in January. I'm making that rule for myself.
Yeah.
Your family may have opinions, but they are not doing the work. So that's what I'm doing. Secondly, I love holiday cookies. I don't have the time to make holiday cookies. I'm sure, Jamie, you make yours. I don't have the time to make them. I have the recipes. They're all great. I am going to go to a bakery and I'm going to get a platter of cookies from there and I'm going to pay for it and I'm going to have it in the house. And I'm allowing myself 2 to 3 cookies a day from Thanksgiving until January 1st. And that is something that I love. So those are 2 things that I am doing for myself that will give me the holiday cookies I had growing up without the work of making the holiday cookies. Because again, no one wants to help me make the cookies. And also for some reason, my family thinks that chocolate chip cookies are holiday cookies. I don't think they are.
That's funny. Well, I love that. And we put so much pressure on ourselves as women that we have to do all of these things. And like you said, I think our families don't care about a lot of this stuff. Like we're the ones who want the matching jammies and the picture.
Yes.
And so if that's your thing that you're like, this is my thing that I'm doing, that's great. But then we try to add on all these other things.
Yes.
And it's really difficult when we've got Thanksgiving, especially if you're hosting, and then you've got Christmas and all the things. So I really like that of picking a couple of things and then doing those and not feeling stressed about it. So when it comes to like, how far out do you like to start planning for holidays? Because we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, there's extended family, there's parties, there's lots of things that get put on the schedule. So do you have a way that you approach like getting things actually on the calendar?
Yes. So our family's not very social. We should start with that. We are never invited to many Christmas parties. I mean, I know a lot of people are, but like, if we have like 4 things we do at the end of the year, like this is like a banner. We just have never been that kind of a family. We did used to travel home to my family, but then my parents got divorced and my father passed away. So it's been over a decade since we've done that. So our holidays are very simple now. And I think I point that out because, you go through different phases of life. Like growing up, my parents were from very big families and the holidays were like a never ending party for weeks. And now the holidays are very small and it's what our children know, but it's not what Greg and I know. And sometimes we miss what we had growing up. And so just acknowledge that I think there's a lot of feelings and emotions that we have that we don't articulate because we don't know where they're coming from. And it's because the holidays aren't like they were when we were a child. Also, really think about the phases of life. I mean, Jamie, you've got so many cute little kids. Like I would dress them up in matching jammies. I tried that last year with my 21 and 22-year-old and didn't go over well.
Didn't work.
And so that was a waste of money, you guys. It was like $100 on all these jammies. It was a waste of money. So think about how you're going to use your time, talent, and treasure during this time. Like your emotional and physical time is as valuable as your financial resources. And so really think about if whatever you have on the agenda is going to take you 2 days to prepare for, a day to do and a day to recover from, do you really have that emotion to do that? And is your family clamoring for that thing at all? Or would they not even notice if you don't do it? Or could it be something you do every 2 years, every 5 years, once a decade? So when I do the Holiday Blitz, which is just a free offering Organized 365 has every year, I walk you through all these analytical questions and I give you a survey to give your family. And the earlier in the season you could do this, the better. So you just do it at dinner. Like you can have it under the table or whatever. And you're like, so what do you guys want for Thanksgiving? Like, what are the foods you're looking forward to? Or what do you want to eat at Christmas? Or what holiday decorations are your favorite? If you could do this before Thanksgiving, it's better because you don't have holiday decorations out. And listen to what they remember. What I found was my family only remembers the Christmas tree. I had like 15 buckets of stuff that I put up. Now we have Christmas trees in every room, but that's it. And I have like 4 trees and I love it. And they don't even notice all the other stuff. So when you ask them, first of all, you'll realize things that you're doing that they don't need you to do. So I'll let you respond to that before I tell you about things that you didn't know they were looking for and you forgot.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic because, and there's other things that they might remember or think of. They go, oh, I really loved that. So a
Yes.
couple of weeks ago, we were having just like one of those days where attitudes were terrible. It was crazy. And I was like, I gotta reset the household as we're heading into dinner. So
Yep.
we've been wanting to do this more. I got out like our nicer china. I lit candles at the table and we had a really simple dinner, but I just made it fancy and it really wasn't fancy, but it was fancy with 7 young kids. And the kids just like, they thought it was the greatest day ever. It took so little effort on my part. And they still talk about it. They go, Mom, when are we having our next fancy dinner? When's our fancy dinner? And it was so sweet because it was such a little thing that I thought, are they even going to care about this? And they love it. And they talk about last year's Thanksgiving, how fancy it was. Like, it's such a sweet little extra that like actually did matter to them that I wouldn't have necessarily thought. So I think that's such a good advice to ask what they remember. And there's going to be a lot that they did not care about that you put all this effort into, and maybe vice versa, where you learn something and go, oh, you really
exactly.
Okay, let's do
Like
that again.
it is the spontaneous thing that they do want repeated. So like I said, my kids are in their early 20s. Well, I've been doing Christmas since they were, like babies.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed them and I asked them what they liked about the holidays, my son was talking about hot chocolate. And I was like, oh, we don't have very good hot chocolate supplies. I mean, like we have like the hot chocolate mix. If you're lucky, we never have like the cream. Like I'm like, boy, you're going to be disappointed because I don't even think we have hot chocolate in the house. And so once I heard that he likes that and he likes, like drinks of all kinds, my kids are drinking age. And so that year I created an awesome dessert bar, like where you could do hot chocolate or you could do coffees because our kids are old enough and we have coffees and my mother-in-law likes coffees. And like, I created like this whole bar. They loved it. So much easier, by the way, than making cookies for a whole weekend. I could buy everything for that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I realized was, like I told you, we have smaller families. And so we don't have a lot of days or a lot of traveling, but we do hang out together as family, watch football. We're hanging out together on the weekends. And so my husband and my kids both mentioned that they really wanted better snacks and they wanted a lot more hors d'oeuvres, like all the time. Like hors d'oeuvres Saturday and Sunday from Thanksgiving all the way until January, like always something we bought. And I was like, me too. I'm like, I think hors d'oeuvres are dinner.
Yes.
I was like, so now our holiday, I would have never done these changes if I had not asked my family these questions. Now we have appetizers year round, actually. We have amazing drink bars all of the time. I don't make cookies at all anymore. And we just have a couple of Christmas trees. And so everybody loves what our holidays are. And I have not wasted any of my time on things that my family doesn't notice and aren't important to me. Like if it's important to me, then go ahead and do it. But if it's not important to you and it's not important to your family, why are you wasting your time and your energy?
Yeah. Well, and it's really hard now with Instagram. Like you see all these incredible things that everybody's doing. And then you're like, I live in a normal house that doesn't look like that. I don't have $5 million to go do all this. Like it can be really hard when you see, people who are, there are bloggers and stuff, that's their full-time job. So like they're pumping out the coolest things ever, but it doesn't have to look like that in your home. You could do really ugly cookies and yet it's perfect because you've got little kids, like we got to keep that in mind too, that there's a lot of comparing and stuff that is just tough for our generation. I think looking at everything that everybody's doing and we don't have to do all the things.
Your kids are not looking at your Instagram feed.
Yes. So true.
I mean, they're just not. And honestly, put the phone down. Like I'm just not on it very much anymore. I cannot go on Facebook. It just immediately I'm like feeling judged, I totally got off of Facebook. Our whole company, we have a separate app and everything. I like Instagram. I follow like 12 people and they're all my family.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, so I'm on Instagram for like 5 minutes a day and I can't handle it. I've never done Pinterest. I'm a terrible Pinterest person because I see Pinterest as a to-do list. As soon as I see it, I'm like, okay, I've got to buy this and I'll buy the stuff. I'll be like, why do I own this stuff? I just can't handle it. I cannot handle seeing the perfection. It doesn't work for me. So I just don't do it.
Well, and it's knowing your own personality too. There are some moms who are like super crafty and like it's awesome and that's their thing that they do. And not everybody is like that. And so recognizing your personality and what you have time for. And like you're saying, we're walking through different seasons. So
Yes.
when I had 5 kids 4 and under, our Christmases, our holidays were so simple. There was nothing extra. There was no, I mean, like it was bare bones and we weren't doing all these crazy traditions, which the babies wouldn't have remembered anyway. But now
Right.
I feel like we're in these middle years. We're kind of in the thick of forming traditions. And our kids are like, we want to do this and we want to do that. Like they've got all the list of stuff, but it's so much
Yeah.
easier for me to do now than it was. But then you move into the season of kids are leaving the house. Like there's just always, you walk through these different seasons and recognizing what is it that you're in right now and what can serve best this holiday season. It doesn't have to be what you're doing every year forever, but what is going to serve well this year and plan accordingly.
Yeah. And I think as I'm starting to walk into more having adult children, now we have a grandbaby, he's 2. So that's a lot of fun.
Yay.
But with adult children and my husband and I, without little kids around, like little kids really do, they're a lot of chaos, but they're a lot of fun and they add a lot of energy into your holidays. And so when you don't have little kids around, you have to be the energy. And so, it's a little bit more challenging, but to really think through what are some adult transitions and traditions that we can have, and what can you and your spouse do and look forward to in the holidays. I'm really, in this season of life, it's supposed to be empty nesting, but they keep coming back. But really focusing on how can I create new, meaningful things for my husband? Like we have date night now. We go out and we see comedians. We're traveling a couple times a year overnight, and just really being very purposeful about those things. So we live near Kentucky, and there are bourbon distilleries. And my husband's job is he sells valves, actuated valves, and he actually has valves in 2 different distilleries in Kentucky. And so I got, after Thanksgiving, the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, we're going to go to Kentucky and we're going to do 2 tours at Buffalo Trace where he has valves, which is going to be fun. We're taking a day off work because we're old, because we can. So we're going to take off a day off work. We're going to drive down there. We're going to do the 2 tours and we're going to come back. And that is kind of something I'm doing for the holidays, just for my husband and I during the work week. Like, thinking that way, like, how can you make memories with your family? How can you invest your time with your family? Things that you'll remember 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. You're not going to remember having recreated, certain things off of Pinterest, but you will always remember the time that you spent with family. Now, with that said, we did go to a holiday party for about a decade every year. And my job was to bring cookies. And every year I brought a different cookie. Like one year they were gingerbread men, the gingerbread reindeers that had like little pretzel antlers, or one year I did little snowmen. And that was really fun to make a cookie every year when I went to that party. And I remember that season. So having fun, different traditions that go season to season, what we tend not to do at the holidays is declutter.
Oh, yeah.
Our ideas and our obligations and our expectations of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we just add and add and add. So feel free to add, but don't forget to declutter, because each season has something different and special. And if you don't keep doing something for 30 years in a row, it doesn't mean that the 25 years that you did it weren't important and that wasn't an awesome tradition at that time in your life.
That's such a good reminder. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up, I want you to, if you have any parting advice for, like the beginning, you were saying, there's the one woman's going to be sitting here with her to-do list ready to go. And the other one's going, no, I don't want to talk about it yet. So someone who's feeling very stressed that, I think a lot of times what happens is we approach the holidays and we're kind of excited and nervous. And then all of a sudden it's January 3rd and we're like, what?
It's over.
And I didn't do the things I really wanted. So someone who's feeling stressed and overwhelmed already with present buying and all the things, what advice do you have as we're starting to approach this season? What can we do now to kind of set up well?
I think you should plan, because when you stop and you think with the end in mind, plan with the end in mind, all of the tasks that you need to do will take order. But if you just sit down and start to make the longest possible to-do list possible that you could make of everything you could maybe do, and then you get started on your list, you end up not necessarily doing the most important things. You never get it all done, and you don't get to enjoy the holidays yourself. So that's why we've created the Holiday Blitz. It's totally free. You download the little workbook, and they have 5 videos that go with it. And I really walk you through thinking through planning all these. What are you going to eat? What are you going to wear? What are your traditions going to be? What are the decorations going to be? And kind of let me be the teacher that puts you in class and says, this is what you need to be thinking about. And then you get to make the decisions, and you can do anything you want. And this year, if this airs before November 17th, we're actually doing an additional live planning day event. There's a fee to that. But if you want to take it a step further, then we're going to do a little bit more extra live planning. But just give yourself, like, get a hot chocolate, get a nice coffee. If you drink wine, get a glass of wine. Give yourself an hour. Like, give yourself an hour to just think about, what do you want the holidays to look like? What went great last year? What didn't go great last year? And what do you want to add? And what do you want to take away? Simple as that.
Yes. I love that. Okay. So where can we find the Blitz? If we want to sign up for this, where can we find it?
Yeah, it's at organize365.com. There'll be links everywhere, but it's organize365.com/blitz.
Awesome. Well, we'll put that in the show notes as well as to your awesome podcast, your website, all of the amazing things that you do. We've had you here on the podcast before, so I'll have to link down below. Go find those and put those in as well. So Lisa, thank you so much for sharing just your practical encouragement. Every time I talk to you, I love how practical everything is. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me here today, talking with Lisa from Organize 365, all about getting ready for the holiday season. Let's choose to have joy this year and more peace and less stress by doing a little bit of maybe advanced prep work and just being really honest with what we can handle, what we can take on, and what this year is going to look like. Just a reminder too, we have our Christmas shop opening coming this week. You can go to findingjoybookstore.com for all of those details. Sneak peeks are starting on Monday. The store is opening on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central, and it will be open until December 1st. So get those orders in. Everything will ship out in time for Christmas if you're ordering these for Christmas presents. And then don't forget to check out the Homemaker's Friend Daily Planner by Sue Holy. This planner is absolutely amazing. It is so affordable, and it's packed with everything real homemakers actually need in their home to get organized, to get planned for this upcoming year. So you can find all of the details and where to snag yours right down below here in this video. And thank you so much for joining me today. And we'll see you guys back here next week for the next episode.